Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
Thank you for joining us for a Black Entrepreneur Experience. This is where we shine the light on the most successful Black entrepreneurs in the world. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. I am so excited today. I have with me the founders, Brandi and Brandon from Posh and Private Event Design, which is a Houston-based certified woman-owned small business firm which focuses planning and designing luxury milestone celebration and experience. Welcome, Brandi and Brandon. Carson, how are ya?
We are well.
Very
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right. I have given our audience a very brief bio about your business. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you would like them to know about you and your company?
Certainly. We can certainly do that.
Well, we are a husband and wife team that's been working together for a while now. And one of the things that we really enjoy is working together as a married couple to kind of sustain our family and push our legacy forward. So as Dr. Richards mentioned, we own Posh and Private Event Design, and we have had the opportunity over the past few years to travel around the world, or actually around the nation, doing events for private citizens, for companies, and nonprofits as well.
Brandon, tell me how long you guys have been in business.
So we've been in business since 2010. We actually relocated from Washington, D.C. to Houston about 3.5 years ago and kind of did a relaunch of our company in Houston. So that's been a fun experience to change markets and really get a better experience here in Houston where there's no snow.
Right. And so how it all kind of started is I was in high school and knew that I wanted to be a business owner. I didn't know what that looked like, what type of business. And so we decided once we got married and together that we were actually going to go full force and start the business. So like Brandon said, we had our business in D.C. For a while, but we weren't doing it to the level that we wanted to be doing it at, and definitely not to the capacity that we knew we could do it at. So what that resulted in is we quit our corporate jobs and we moved across country. So when we moved across country, we said, okay, so it's either now or never. And we really put out or experienced the sink or swim situation here, which I probably wouldn't recommend to any aspiring entrepreneurs out there. But it was sink or swim when we got to Houston. So thankfully we are on our way to swimming.
That's a wonderful story. So tell me about this journey, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. Brandi, you had said about your business that you knew in high school, which is pretty profound, in terms of wanting to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I didn't really know. I just knew that I liked business, and so I knew that I liked organizing things. And we have a friend who says when she was younger, she used to love going to Office Depot. And I thought I was the only person who loved going to Office Depot and just looking at all of the organizational things and, seeing all the different things. So I didn't really know that it was a business that I was going after, but I knew that I liked organizing things and documents and processes and paperwork and all those things. So once I got older and through college, I finally realized, kind of what that was. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah, and we actually, on our honeymoon, I'll never forget this. We had just gotten married, and we were on our honeymoon, and we were just talking about life and what we wanted to do as a couple. And Brandi was like, hey, I want to start a business. I was taken aback because we had just gotten married. So I wanted to try to live life together for at least a little while, but that bug didn't go away. And through talking about it, we both had desires to be entrepreneurs. I just didn't expect it to come so quickly within our marriage. So I think we had been married a little bit over 2 years at that time when we decided to start our business.
And, that's really interesting because generally in a marriage, you have one individual that is like really into the entrepreneurial spirit and the other individual is just like more the safe route. So tell me about this journey you guys had both indicated that you were in college, and then you indicated you had the corporate jobs. Tell us about that journey, about in reference to your the career move that you made. Tell us about the corporate jobs. Is it related to event design, or is it totally polar opposites?
Yeah, so what actually happened there is I left Spelman College. I graduated. I had interviewed for one job. I don't even know if my parents know that. I had interviewed for only one job, so if I didn't get that one, I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I interviewed at Accenture, which is a consulting firm, a technology consulting firm. And so while I was at Accenture, I was getting my master's degree at the same time. And so just from a corporate space, consulting, while it's very full of, organization and processes and spreadsheets and, everything that I thought I loved, I figured out that it wasn't fulfilling me. And so as I got my master's degree, which happens to be in tourism administration with a concentration in event and meeting management. So the short answer is it's in event planning. And so as I was going through my coursework, I figured out consulting is a really great, occupation. It's just not really what I want to do. And so from there, I actually moved into some government meeting and conference planning roles. I think I went to 2 different agencies doing it there. And then so from there, I finally figured out that I didn't want to do meetings or conferences, that my heart really was with special events and things that had flowers and cake and, all those kind of pretty little details that I thought were really, really important to me. So from there, we just kind of said, okay, maybe this is not a good fit for Brandi.
And unfortunately, I have a more boring past. My undergraduate degree is in computer science. My master's degree is in cybersecurity. But throughout that process, I had the opportunity, and I always have been kind of the guy on campus who was organizing the events for organizations and town halls and things of that nature. And also when I was in graduate school, I had the opportunity to plan our what we called our grad school prom, which was a quarterly gala for about 300 people. So Brandi helped me with that, and I really had enjoyed doing it. And we both just really liked planning events. And I think more so for me on the logistical side, because I like organizing things, and Brandi, as you mentioned, has a very strong knack for the design elements and loves flowers and things of that nature. So putting those things together really helped us excel with Posh and Private.
And absolutely, it sounds like it's a fairy tale marriage, a fairy tale. I mean, really, and then in terms of coming together on the entrepreneurial level is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we're really, really blessed in the fact that, one, we found each other. Our names happen to coincide with each other by no fault of our own. And that we kind of have the same likes, and we kind of have the same dislikes. And so it's really, I don't think we could have done it better ourselves. And so it's been really, really good. Don't
let us make you think it was the easiest journey, though. Like any relationship, we had to go through our growing pains. And I think at least me personally, I underestimated the struggle of working with my wife, because there are times when you have to be a husband, there's times I have to be a business partner. And so learning that delicate balance was very important for us to be able to succeed. And I think it improved our communication exponentially, not only in business, but our marriage as well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So how do you two define success? What does that look like for you, and how long did it take to manifest in your life?
So with success, what we have learned specifically over this entrepreneurial journey, so actually I should back up. When we were in our corporate jobs, we thought success was, financially based. We thought it was, okay, we have the ability to buy X, Y, and Z and do whatever we want. That all changes on the entrepreneurial journey because financial success is not always what you get. And so success for us has just we have had to redefine what it looks like at certain points throughout our entrepreneurial journey because it changes. Success might be, for us landing a client, or it might be making inroads into an organization that we're trying to get into. So while we have a general feeling or definition of what success might be, we know that it definitely changes throughout our journey. But I guess for our ultimate definition of success is...
I think it really comes down to, for us, being able to feel comfortable as a family. As we evolve, we were younger when we first started working together, so our definition has shifted as we've kind of grown and matured, not only as people, but in business as well. And so one thing that we've learned, shifting from corporate positions to a entrepreneurial position, you have to go out and get the foods you want to eat. And getting the foods you want to eat from a business perspective may be a very long journey to get to that first open door client. And it might not be the biggest payoff, but you appreciate it so much because you worked so hard to achieve it. That small thing might be success versus a financial implication of success.
Yeah.
Now, what is a daily or a weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you to the greatest success?
I would attribute it to prayer. We pray together about our business and our marriage and our life. And I honestly think that has really helped us a lot in getting to where we are from where we were previously.
Yeah, I would agree. Because of our definition of success, which I don't know if we fully answered in the last one, but our definition of success is being able to provide for the generations that are coming after us. So for our kids, for our grandkids, that really is our ultimate level of success. And we realize that we cannot do entrepreneurship, marriage, life without prayer. We just can't do it. I don't know. We really wouldn't be able to make it if we didn't pray on a consistent basis together.
And that is awesome. And what I find so amazing is the name of your business, Posh and Private, and then you have prayer. So that is like heavenly divine. So thank you.
Oh, yes, yes.
What is one valuable lesson you wish you knew before starting your business?
The major lesson that I wish I knew before starting our business was knowing how much I was going to change as a person. If I had been more flexible, if I had realized how different I was going to be midway through this journey, I would have been more open and flexible at the beginning, not so stringent on, I have to do it this way now, or I have to do it this way now. But because I like spreadsheets and organization and administrative things, I like things to be a certain way. If I had walked into the situation being a little bit more flexible, I think it would have changed. Things wouldn't have been as difficult or as hard. It would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much we were going to have to learn. You don't go into the entrepreneurial journey expecting to learn things that don't really relate to your field of expertise, but you're forced to in order to succeed. And if you don't learn those things, you're forced to rely on others, and you may or may not have the network connections, resources, or financial ability to outsource those things. And if you don't, you just can't succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandi, can you give us an example of that?
Sure thing. So, for example, our website. Neither of us have a website building background, but we understood when we first started out, we had to have a nice website to make sure people understood the brand and understood what we could do from a design perspective. And so we took it upon ourselves to learn how to make our own website, and we've made our own website since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that is amazing, because as a solo entrepreneur myself, and that has been a true thorn in my side, website design. And so I have gone through many website designs and in the process of launching a new one, hopefully by the end of April, if not sooner. So I think that's wonderful that you have taken that a step further. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure thing. And definitely, it also boils down to having control of the process. So if we didn't have our own website, we were not actually building it ourselves, we wanted to make any modifications, we would be at the mercy of whoever we're paying to do it. and it may not be on the timetables in which we need it.
Right. And so I try very hard to not be at anyone else's mercy ever for anything, unless it's something, potentially like accounting related, like taxes or something we cannot figure out ourselves. One of the biggest lessons we have learned is be, in control of as much as you can. So when you do hand it off to someone, you know what to expect. You know what the outcome should be. And again, so you're just not at the mercy of other people and not waiting on someone else to do what you can learn and do yourself.
And so, Brandi and Brandon, tell us, who are your top 2 influencers in life, and what lessons do they teach you?
Oh, I think for me, influence was something that I learned from the community of people who were around me when I was growing up. I can't really pinpoint a specific person, but there were so many life lessons I learned from my parents, grandparents, and people who became second parents from me that kind of instilled certain values in me that I see manifesting themselves in our business. So for one example, my grandfather always taught me, if you can't afford it with your own money, don't buy it. And that's something that I lived with my entire life, and I still believe today. So I am a tad bit frugal at times when it comes to certain things, but I've had to learn to expand from a business standpoint that, it takes money to make money. So sometimes you have to invest in certain things to get different outcomes. But I still appreciate the value of money and understand that I have to work a certain amount to get a certain outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, it would be probably my mom and dad. They've done, I didn't realize, my parents don't necessarily have some, Fortune 500 company, but they are both very business minded. And so from a very young age, my mom would say, you have to be better. You have to do better. You have to do this. And of course, when you're like 12, you're like, I don't really know what that means. But now I definitely wholeheartedly understand where she's coming from. And from my dad in particular, there are different business lessons that I have just observed him partake in just throughout my life. And of course, when you're like 16, 17, 18, you don't even realize what's happening. But now I see it on a daily basis. I'm like, these are attributes and characteristics I absolutely have pulled from my parents. And so I would have to absolutely say my parents.
Thank you for that. How do you blend or balance your personal life, family life with your business?
We try our best to balance it, but it doesn't always work. I mean, working with your spouse is not the easiest task to take on. And I think the difficulty comes in when you don't set boundaries. So we try our best to set boundaries up. This is work time. This is personal time. And if we need to have, be flexible in those regards, I need some personal time right now, or we have to work past our set deadline or our set time frame, we just communicate that and make sure we're both on board with that decision versus me thinking it's business time and Brandi thinking it's personal time. Then we have, an issue to work through.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think we'll constantly be looking how to better that. Because, if we have lots of client events or there's a demanding client, because we're contractually bound to those people, you kind of feel pressure there to be like, okay, we just need to work all the time. And realizing that you need your personal time just to recharge and relax so you can have fresh eyes when you go back to your work, which is why we try really, really hard to kind of set those boundaries. We try to protect our Sundays as much as we can in terms of not having events on Sundays, not having client meetings on Sundays, not responding to too many emails on Sundays, just so we can take that time to recharge.
We make an intentional habit of putting things on the calendar that are not based on business and forcing ourselves to go to them, so to hang out with our friends and to do things in the community just to make sure that we are getting as much exposure to different things outside of business so we can better ourselves as people.
Absolutely. And we also have date nights as well. So
beautiful. Is it weekly, monthly? How do you do your date nights?
Oh. Well, I'll say this. We don't have them nearly enough. But we try to do, and the other thing too is when we don't have events on Friday, we do actually make an intentional effort to just hang out with each other on Friday night. which usually involves, getting a movie from the Red Box and, drinking wine and eating pizza and trying to make it the exact opposite of our daily life and just spending time with each other talking as much as we can.
And that's really beautiful, and it is so important that you guys enjoy spending time with each other, as much time as you spend together as husband and wife, as well as business partners. So thanks for sharing that information. Tell our audience, what is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business?
I think Adobe Illustrator has been a lifesaver for us. As I mentioned before, we learned how to utilize web development to build our own website. We also use Adobe Illustrator religiously to build marketing collateral, to build spreadsheets, to build designs, to build anything you can think of that has a design element. We're going to use Adobe Illustrator somewhere in the process.
Yeah, we've used Adobe for our logo. We've used it for client events, for different client things. I mean, everything that you can think of. That's what we use Illustrator for. I mean, we've created logos for other people. So I think if you took away our Illustrator, it would be a problem for us.
Let's talk about risk and or failure. What is the worst moment in business, and what was the takeaway?
So we've been in Houston a year, maybe. We were in Houston for a year, and we were trying to, as we're still trying to identify our target customer, we had switched from individuals, and we said, okay, we're going to go after businesses. In identifying those businesses, we said, okay, we're going to target this one particular business because they have a clientele that has a high disposable income who might need birthday parties and other milestone celebrations. And so we made contact with the company, and we even had a meeting set up, and we went through this extensive effort to get these documents created, and we said, okay, this is how Posh and Private can help your business. You can hire us. We went through this very large work effort. So we get to the meeting, and the woman was gracious enough to meet with us. And she was like, you guys are really great. This is really wonderful. But we can't really do anything with you because this is not what we do. This is not our business.
Yeah, and it boiled down to a lack of understanding on our part of their business model and how they actually operated. So although they were in the chain that was connecting with our target demographic, they weren't a direct connection point. So we basically were barking up the wrong tree and trying to insert ourselves into a process without knowing all the information.
Yeah, and the lesson in that was do your research and understand how you fit into someone else's business model and their supply chain and how they, provide goods and services to their customers. That was a huge lesson. I think because of the work effort that was involved beforehand, that was one I took really, really hard afterwards. Because I just felt embarrassed. And I felt like, oh my gosh, we say that we're Posh and Private, but here we are not doing any research. So but I got over it. But that was the biggest lesson we learned.
Thank you. Talk to the person in our audience. They want to start a business. They're working a 9-to-5. They're fearful. What advice would you offer them?
I would say embrace your fear and do it afraid. There's not really a day that goes by that I don't have some type of fear as it relates to our business. You never know how things are going to turn out, and you never know how impactful your fear is going to be in driving you to that next level. But you have to keep walking in some direction, otherwise you're going to get nowhere. You have to know what you want to do. You have to be able to articulate it to someone else, and draft the business plan before you do anything. I would not suggest leaving like we did and just quitting your job.
Yes, don't do that. Yes.
That is a high-risk step that everybody probably should not take. But I would suggest starting it as a side business in your free time. Dedicate a few hours a week to it just to see if it's something that you really are really passionate about. Because if you're not passionate about it, there's no reason to take on the additional risk and stress of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, if you're still working a 9-to-5 job, I think how we kind of started it was just writing down lists. Of course, I would say that, but writing lists of okay, these are the steps that I need to take. So do I need to become an LLC or an S Corp? Do I want to have a business partner? What is my core business idea? What am I doing? So like Brandon said, organize your thoughts and make sure that, you have all the steps to achieve what it is that you're trying to do. Definitely do your research. Because you don't want to do anything and be haphazard. You want to make sure that you are very well researched and you know what your options are.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that people overlook is the need to learn business skill. So you may be very talented in whatever area you work in, but if you can't translate that into a business that's profitable and actually learn how to operate as a business, there's no reason to even try.
Okay. Tell us about your name, Posh and Private Event Design. How did you come up with that name?
That was a process. So when we moved from Washington, D.C. to Houston, we decided that we're going to reassess our brand as a company and really try to figure out who we were and who we wanted to attract. So we went through, I think, maybe a 2 or 3 week process of figuring out our brand colors, identity, and we had a list of about
7 names?
That was our final list.
Okay.
We started with about maybe 50, and we voted amongst the 2 of us to get down to about 7. And then we just had some serious conversation about how that would resonate with our target demographic. And we chose Posh because we wanted, Posh is a term that resonates with certain audiences being a certain level of excellence and elegance, and private because we targeted, intimate celebrations that were for people who really wanted to have not necessarily smaller, but your invite-only events versus big events that are like conventions and trade shows.
Thank you for sharing that. Brandi and Brandon, what book would you recommend and why?
One of my favorite books is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And I love that book because anytime, so this is definitely one of the lessons I learned from my parents, is that you always kind of want to be the person to stand out in a good way. And so that's exactly what he's talking about in that book. Outliers, how they're different, why they're different, what they did to become different. And so day to day in our business, in our personal life, in our marriage, that's what we strive to be, as an outlier. We want to be, a benchmark for other people to look at us and say, wow, they're really doing it well. Not to pump up our own heads, but because we like to work and strive to be excellent. Because when we're excellent, it's going to help someone else understand and realize you can be excellent too, because we're just regular people. So we just want to share that lesson with everybody.
I would say one book that I would suggest every entrepreneur read is a book my dad gave me that he read while he was getting his MBA. It is The Richest Man in Babylon. It's an anecdotal tale, a few anecdotes about different ways and different business stories and just different business lessons you can learn based on the ancient Babylonians. And they're still applicable today because these laws of business don't necessarily change. And it's amazing how such a good old book is a very short read, but it is applicable almost in every business, no matter what you're doing.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself? And when you ask that question, I need you to answer it.
I would say, was it worth it? Taking the leap of faith to leave something that was so stable to go into such an unstable environment is something that, day to day we look back and say, hey, how would our life have been different?
Yeah.
But we learn, I think, to look ahead, and I would definitely say it has been worth it. The journey, no matter how it's turned out and will turn out, we learn so much about ourselves, about business, about things that we probably never would have been exposed to had we not taken the leap of faith and left on a plane and just live our life.
I would say the same question. I mean, there have been so many downtimes that's the part nobody tells you about. So there's been so many downtimes where we always question, was it worth it? Why did we leave? But then there are so many just good and regular times that we say to ourselves, this was totally worth it. Everything that we've gained from, the friends that we've gained from the connections that we gained from being in Houston, it was totally worth it. And like I mentioned before, you change and you just become so different as a person. And everything that we have learned, I would not trade it for anything. I mean, you're so different when you get on the other side of it in any, journey in life, but it was absolutely worth it.
Thank you for that. We come to the part of our interview where we call it Fun Facts Lightning Round. And so I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want just real quick answers. The last movie you saw?
Snowden.
Bridesmaids.
You relax doing what?
Watching TV, eating pizza, and drinking wine.
Drinking wine, yes.
Your favorite singer?
Ooh.
Beyonce.
I'm not really a music person, so I listen to whatever Brandi likes.
Your favorite dance song?
24 Karat by Bruno Mars. That's my favorite song.
It is mine too, because she plays it constantly. And I do enjoy it.
I think we've answered this, but I'm going to throw it out there again. What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Pizza! I love it so much.
And your favorite month?
I would say August. Brandi's birthday falls in August, and so does her wedding anniversary, so it's a big month for us.
Yeah, I was going to say July 18th through August 30th, because that's Brandon's birthday, and then our wedding anniversary isn't at the end of August, so.
Oh, that is so romantic.
Yeah.
Share with our audience, Brandi and Brandon, a parting piece of guidance you want to offer.
I think what Brandon said is just do it afraid. If you are an entrepreneur, you're still in that 9 to 5, and if you are not in your 9 to 5 and you're an entrepreneur, do it afraid. I mean, again, we're afraid every day when we do stuff, every single time, but you have to get over it, and that's part of the thing that makes you different. Do it afraid, and you'll be glad that you did.
Yeah, the fear will never go away, and no matter what it is, embrace the fear and take that first step.
And the last question, what is the best way for our audience to connect with you?
Oh, sure. You can visit our website at www.poshandprivate.com. And we actually just launched a new service called the Bridal Helpline, so you can connect with us there as well, www.bridalhelpline.com. That is an on-demand service to connect brides planning their own weddings with certified wedding planners.
We're also on social media as well, so at Posh and Private on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and then at Bridal Helpline for the same networks.
Well, that's a wrap, and you heard it here on Black Entrepreneur Experience, Brandi and Brandon Carson from Posh and Private Events Design. Thank you two so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.